Welcome to Mr. Wall's class. This is your first whisk, and this is on lab safety. Let's get to it. First, what's the most important thing up here about Mr. Wall's class? Well, that is safety. We want everybody to go home with their fingers and their toes and that kind of thing. So we want everybody to be safe. The next slide talks about safety violations and what if there are any minor violations. Well, in class there are no minor safety violations, so there aren't any. Any violation can lead to injury, so we want to make sure everybody's going to be safe and that nobody has any injuries. Let's talk about dress code for a minute. Goggles. Goggles should be worn whenever you work with chemicals, whenever you work with burners, whenever you use glassware, that's beakers and the like, and anything that might get into your eye. So anything that gets into your eye. When we say wear glasses, we're talking about, or your goggles, we're talking about putting your goggles on your eyes, not wearing them on top of your head or wearing them around your neck. That won't protect your eyes. What can happen if you don't wear goggles? This next slide is a little bit graphic, so I'm giving you fair warning. It does show what can happen to an eyeball if it's unprotected, so that's why I need you to see it. This eyeball has been exposed to a chemical for about 15 seconds. It's not important what the chemical was. You just need to know that this can happen if your eyes aren't protected. Talking about contact lenses. Some people choose to wear contact lenses in the lab, and that is fine. That's okay, but you need to be aware that if you wear contact lenses, that something could splash into your eyes, and the contact lens could be difficult to get out. Tie your hair back, especially when working around fire. For obvious reasons, we don't want your hair to catch on fire, so make sure you tie that back. Don't wear open-toed shoes in the lab, because in case something breaks or something falls off the ledge of a table, we don't want to squish your toes, so make sure you wear closed-toed shoes. If you want to have sandals or you wear slides, then store some in your locker. Take a look at this slide and see if there's any safety rule violations you can spot. We'll talk about that one in class. Let's talk about a little chemical safety. One, never mix chemicals together for the fun of it. You never know what your results may be. So never just mix chemicals. And use only what's needed. Make sure you keep the chemical container closed, because we don't want any spills. Never just pour chemicals down the sink unless instructed to. You never know what was poured down the sink beforehand, so you could get a reaction that you did not expect. And don't return them to their original containers. Dispose of properly. Sometimes when you mix chemicals or pour things down sinks, like I said, they can cause some issues with reactions. Okay, so when you're working with chemicals, make sure you understand if you need to test for odors, you waft things to you. You never just sniff out of the container. If you do, then you could get some irritation in the nose. It could actually burn the inside of your nose. So your job is to up here, write down, or to draw actually, what it looks like to waft things to your nose. So make sure that you're drawing a wafting motion. The next thing is that we need to talk about acids, and let me back up. Talking about containers and things, never drink from a container in the lab. You never know what was in it before, and it could cause you to get sick. So many things that we work with in the lab may be poisonous. So make sure that you just don't drink from a container. When we're talking about acids, even vinegar is an acid. We need to understand that acids are special and we need to work with them carefully. When we're adding acid to water, when we're mixing acid in water, we always add the acid. We never put the water on top of the acid because there could be a thermal reaction to it and cause the container to break. So always add acid. Remember, always add acid. Okay? Glass. What you should look out for with glassware is make sure they're not chipped, broken, and cracked, or even dirty. All these things, I'll put a little 4 down there, should be a 4. Anyway, chipped, broken, cracked, or dirty. It could cause your experiment to go wrong. If you heat that container up, it could break it even further, and we don't want anybody having glass shattered in your hand. If glass does break, don't pick it up. We have people here that will do that, so you don't cut yourself. Take a look at this slide and see if you can spot any safety rule violations. Let's talk about heating and fire safety for a moment. Sometimes we need to heat things up in the lab, so we need to make sure we're safe with that. Never use a heat source, such as a candle or a burner or a hot plate, without permission. Some chemicals are fine when they're not heated up. Other chemicals get a little bit crazy when they are heated up. So don't heat anything unless you're instructed to. Never heat anything unless or in a broken container. So make sure that's why we need to check for that. And keep anything that could catch on fire away from the fire. And be careful of your arms. Don't reach across the flame because you obviously will get burned if you do that. So when is it safe to heat something in the lab? When the instructor says so. When the teacher says it's okay. All right? So don't do it unless you're told it's okay to do it. So be careful when you heat something in the lab. Never heat something in a closed container because it could cause the lab or the container to, or the liquid in the container to expand and build up pressure and explode. So don't do it. All right. So if there's a small fire in the lab, there's a few things that you need to do. One is calmly move away. So move away from it. Call for help. And quietly wait. All right. If it's contained, then it's pretty easy to take care of. However, if you have a fire, like your lab paper catches on fire, which has happened on occasion, you'll want to take that, and the fourth step is you want to push that into sink. And then do the rest. If you just move it into the sink, now it's contained, and we can take the fire, or put the fire out. If there's a large fire, then you need to understand that we're going to leave. We're not going to stick around and take care of that fire. So beware of that. If for some reason you need to use a fire extinguisher, there's an acronym to remember. It's called PASS. What you do is you pull the pin, you aim it, you sweep, and you spray. Most likely you will never have to use the fire extinguisher, but it's in here just in case. And for some reason, that does happen. Pull, aim, sweep, and spray. If you remember that, then you'll never go wrong with a fire extinguisher. If you catch on fire, remember, stop, drop, and roll. That way, that way we can get you put out. Don't run around the building or run around the room because we're trying to catch you to put you out. So stop, drop, and roll, and then we'll get you put out as quickly as possible. Don't ever use a fire extinguisher on a person because it can cause them more harm. So we'll use a fire blanket. If the fire alarm sounds, we will leave the building. We'll unplug things, turn off things, and close chemical containers, and we will leave. We'll do this fairly quickly so that we can get out of here. We don't want to leave chemicals open that might catch fire, so we will do that quickly. Other emergency procedures, if there's something sharp, remember, always cut away from yourself, not toward yourself. Never try to catch a falling sharp instrument. Grasp the sharp instrument only by the handle, and if you get cut, let me know. So, but if you have any type of accident, report it immediately. So if you have anything happen to you, you report it. That way I know about it, and we can take care of it. Everybody's got a safety job to do. I'll be watching. Thanks for watching the video. We'll see you next time.